Hello everyone, welcome back. We've just had the first map concluded with SK picking up victory there as they closed it out on the second half. Obviously had a tremendous lead. Took them a few seconds to actually get their heads back together on their T side, but once things started to work out for them, it was smooth sailing. They locked it down. They found success on Gambit's map pick.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. Coming into this best of three, I spoke about the maps being, I don't want to say favoured for either team, but more so equal. You know, all of these teams, both of these teams are going to be, comfortable on all of these maps. Inferno, now Overpass, and then coming into Train being the final map. You know, do I see this going the full three maps? Not necessarily, especially because of how strong the CT side defense was for SK on Inferno. Coming into their own map pick now onto Overpass, I just see them getting done in two.
I think I'd have to agree, to be honest with you. I mean, SK shouldn't really be losing their own map pick here. Obviously for Gambit they can play Overpass, but I don't feel like they're going to have it in them. There was a few rounds where, especially on their CT side, they actually started to get momentum going. It looked good, but it seemed like it was
late.
Yeah, it was more of a flash in a pan when it actually did happen.
Yeah, simply put, just too late. You know, the 13-2 CT half from SK was far too high for Gambit to have any chance of coming back into that matchup. You know, they found, some rounds on their CT side. I believe they won, what was it? Like, they were 8-2 up, essentially, when it got to match point for SK. So we said, okay, what if there was sort of more of a competitive first half, maybe a 9-6 scoreline instead of a 13-2? Could have been seeing more of a, equal matchup, maybe an 11-11 or a 10-11, something where we could be getting into the game. Because the problem was, the first half was so one-sided. And then into the second half, yes, Gambit showed some prowess, something to work with, but it's still a struggle to really get into because you always know at the back of your head, SK have still got this one. There's always that 7 round buffer, and they're always going to get the job done eventually.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's the SK factor. It's the fact that any one of them could pop off at any moment and be the difference maker really into that match. And that's kind of what it was. We just saw SK, as soon as they had cash to play with, really, were able to start to bring it back into it. There were a few rounds that could have been changed here and there as well. If anything, it could have been an even quicker game for SK, but they pick it up anyhow. They do find success in Inferno. Into Overpass, what do we see? Where's the potential? How do you think this is going to go? Is this a clear-cut 2-0 from this point, or is this where Gambit might have some kind of momentum? Obviously, actually, like they got better towards the end of the game there, but is that really something we can trust or expect?
Well, this is going to be the map pick as well for SK, so obviously Gambit get to opt for the side they want to start on, and obviously they're going to be starting on the CT side of Overpass more than likely. So, pistol round goes in their favor. Maybe we see 9-8 rounds in the CT half, and then going into the second half for SK. If they lose that second pistol, then maybe there's a chance. The problem is here for for Gambit, is SK have so much to work with on their T side here on Overpass. This is a map where they are so strong at their defaults, leaving Taco alone towards the B-bomb site, having fallen work on those picks towards the toilets, towards the A portion of the map. And they're so good at getting the first frag on this map and also working around that. What does Taco hear towards the B side? Does he anticipate close monster setup? Can they exploit that with flashes close range going towards the B side? Basically swarming those CT side of players that go towards the A side with their executions. The defaults on the T side of Overpass are so good for SK, and I just don't see Gambit having it in them to hold it off. But then again, we've been wrong before. Okay, Gambit come back into this one because obviously, if they lose this, they go home, they're back to the drawing board, and this is the biggest tournament, till Sydney, essentially.
Yeah, this is quite an important one, really, for Gambit to actually
there's the dream hack.
Get something out, but yeah.
Marseille, but even then, that's a while away. This is the tournament which, leaves the sour taste in your mouth if they do exit prematurely before making it to playoffs.
For SK as well, the same could be said, because by no means should they even be in the lower bracket at this point. It's the fact that obviously it was the huge overtime game, the controversy that goes along with that, but the fact that they ended up here in the lower bracket. Essentially, when you look at it, now you think, right, this is just going to be them trying to steamroll through, obviously, whoever their opponents are. You just got to imagine them as kind of like the Undertaker right now, taking anyone down that dares to go up against them.
I guess. Can't give any more to add on to that one, mate. Wasn't a WWE fan myself, but I believe the game is going to be going live shortly. And yeah, the pistol round is pivotal here for Gambit. They can't allow the momentum from Inferno to carry on from SK into this matchup. We'll be finding out shortly. But yeah, scoreline predictions, Jack. I see this one being a 16-9 for SK. Yourself?
I think this should be, yeah, probably within the region of that, like 16-9, 16-7, somewhere kind of around there, depending on the start. If Gambit actually get a good pistol, I think it could be slightly more so in their favor, but their CT side needs to be looking good for them.
So there is a technical issue right now, which is being sorted currently, and obviously once that is fixed, we'll go live back into the action. I don't know. What do you think of the Seized versus Fitch? What do you reckon about the new edition of Seized? What do you reckon?
It's interesting, obviously, into that game, Seized actually looked pretty useful, obviously quite effective in terms of the fragging capability. Seized was playing a hyper-aggro style of CS, though. Very deep, obviously, a lot more aggression coming through on his CT side. That's where it's always going to be questions, though. On T, they look like things were a little bit incoherent. Quite a lot of weird calls that came out for them. The rounds they did get down to were obviously just kind of blips here and there. From his CT side play, though, it was very in your face, very loud, raring to go. You could see his confidence was there, so it's by no means him still trying to find his place in the lineup. It seems like, if anything, he's kind of walked in and decided, you know what, I'm going to go off the leash and do what I want.
Interesting. Obviously, the argument there is experience over firepower, I guess. Adren, in an interview, said, obviously, Fitch has the better firepower, the better aim. He's going to be getting more frags on the scoreboard. But Gambit, as a collective, thought, you know, we don't need the firepower. We need the experience, the cohesion, someone that's going to be there when crunch time is of the essence.
Well, we've got the thumb from Matya, so I think we're going to be ready to go as the game looks like it's going to kick off. We
are live, so coming into the second and potential final map here for Gambit into this tournament, IEM Katowice lower bracket. C is going to be buying the double flashbang defuse kit. Ooh, 2 Molotovs here for the T side. So if they do go towards B, they can molly out towards, barrels, molly out as well towards graffiti, towards the B lower site. But already, before the lines of the Molotov towards barrels, the flashbangs come in as they rush towards B.
Ooh, Hobbit's down in seconds. Fur with the early entry as he bounds his way in as well, gliding up and down like he's on a trampoline. Cold with a juicy little tap as well, takes down Mo. Oh, Cold is just snapping their necks back, Snods.
1 versus 3 now for the new recruit, the player we were just talking about. Finds one in the 1 versus 2 now, but there you have it. Bounce towards CT, has the aggression, and connects the shots. 1-0 for SK. As they are going to be going for the force buy onto Mo. Who else is going to be forced? But that's quite strange, if we do see one player force, obviously, you wouldn't expect it from the AWPer, essentially, especially on a map like Overpass, on your CT side where the AWP is so important towards long toilets, towards middle, towards everywhere essentially on the map. But it is going to be the 4 SMG blind once again from SK. 1 Galil for bolts, as they are going fast towards B short, exactly where Dozier is.
Dozier charges out with a 5-7, actually on the aggro there as he gets the first kill. Punishes bolts, but still, the SMGs are in play. That just means the Galil's down, so maybe a little bit more restricted in terms of range, but Taco and Fallen do have UMPs, so it's not going to be all doom and gloom really for them as they get ready to go for this play towards the B site. 1 minute and 20 seconds left on the clock.
Aggression towards middle here from Hobbit. Gambit have the read. They're going to be expecting the push coming in towards B, but the rotations aren't there in time. 3 players coming in from SK towards B site, which is currently clear. So just 1 player towards Graffiti. Smoke comes out towards the lower position of CT, and the flashbang comes in to clear Graffiti.
Oh, flashbang over as they push round. Taco going to find the frag on towards C's with a UMP. Just lying in wait as well. Coldzera hungry for him to dare and try and defy him. As Mo gets tagged up, eventually finished off as well with a nice little finisher on the end there. Finds the headshot to take him down. Hobbit with the CZ, fighting his way through as he peeks out through the tunnels. But both of them crumble away. SK get both of those rounds now.
Round number 3 then. 2-0 for SK. Obviously that was the full force from Gambit. All 5 players forcing as well, Jack. And quite ironic that they used the spray of the smiley face. Might not be the best representation of how they're actually feeling mentally.
Yeah. Turn that frown upside down.
Maybe that's more of an accurate reading, but anyway, it's going to be the EK from Gambit. Obviously, they have so many SMGs for SK, so they can be effective at farming the cash, as they all go towards connector as well, trying to see if they can find and isolate 1 player here. Taco, only into a 1 versus 1.
Yeah, he was trying to start a sauna there as he chucked the Molotov out, but instead he'll have the frag anyway. Goes for the peek and finds the headshot back on towards Hobbit. Everyone converging up as they link up, try and just go for the brute force play, charge your way in. use the player advantage you've got to just overwhelm them with that unrelenting force. Ooh, hello.
Well, there's one kill at least. But number 4, it is traded out there by Bolt. So Dren, last alive, obviously has the UMP in hand, so each frag he finds could be pivotal. Obviously, $600 per kill with the SMG. As their money is going to be low going to the first buyout here, Jack. That SMG money could have been extremely potent. But yeah, round number 4 here. 3-0 for SK as they also have the map advantage. Gambit are going to need to find success early into this first half. We saw the difficulties of when you concede too many rounds in the first half. It's so hard to come back from such a deficit. But it will be 5 M4s here for Gambit, 5 rifles to work with. No defuse kit as well here for the CT side. And 4 smokes, 3 flashbangs, and no molotovs for Gambit. The buy is so weak, and you can see they're getting aggressive towards connected. They need early kills here, Jack. You know, if the round continues and there's still 50 seconds left on the clock and it's a 5 versus 5, you're going to be favouring SK. Although, are you? Look at the buy for both these teams. Still keeping forward 3 SMGs here. You can see the confidence is gleaming from SK.
Yeah, they're looking resplendent into these rounds, obviously wanting to just try and farm up as much economy as possible. If they can, they might as well. They've got the confidence to go for it and play it out as a bit of a scouting round as they take their charge through. Going to be grouping up towards toilets and go for this slow play as they're diverted into 2 little packs. As the play comes out, still a minute on the clock here, Snods to decide who'll be getting the opening rifle round.
Let's see who will claim that one, as it is going to be the boost towards sandbags, and actually from Gambit, rotating C's towards the A site as well, as it seems like they do have a bit of a read that SK are going to be committing towards A. Smoke towards the end of long as well from SK, so they can group behind the smoke, flash the SMGs over. But Adren, close range as well versus the smoke could be the resistance that Gambit need as they make their way through middle, through A long as well. They can line the smoke up towards bank and burst through this smoke.
Charging their way around, first straight in, doesn't detect anyone. It allows the Dren to switch through and get a double kill as well as, wow, actually just damage. Good stuff from Mo, keeps it going. Sees for the final frag on Bolts, and they all crumble away.
Well, better start for Gambit than the last map. 1 to 3. As it will be the AWP here for Fallen, so obviously for SK that was sort of a bonus round essentially. You're carrying forward 3 SMGs. You can see the thought process, the thought process behind it as well from the Brazilian team. You take mid control, go in towards connector, walk up towards A long, smoke the end of long so there's no AWP that can be facing your rifles that have the range advantage. You get up close towards A long with the smoke, you flash through, you burst the site. Poor timing there from SK. The smoke fades, they want to go for the face. They basically get destroyed by those rifles, but now SK are going to be having a strong buy into this AWP for Fallen, as I said before, and 4 AKs to round off the rest of the buys. They go for the contact play through connector. As they leave, as predicted, Taco alone towards the B-bomb site. 2 towards mid and 2 towards connector as well. So it will be an A default coming in from SK so they can gain map control early. From that, the execution they can have, they can try and find the first frag as well. As I said, Fallen so good at gaining the first entry frag and advantage for his team towards toilets and towards mid.
Ooh, they go for the jump face, and Fallen, he's fast when it comes down to those flicks, so he will be able to land the shot. Takes down Mo, so that's already Mo out of commission. This is good. They're finding the cracks and the crevices that they can capitalize upon as they slowly go for this play towards the A site, clearing out these angles as well. Fur with a flash push in towards toilets. Actually, the HE push as they go for the counter boost play as well. 35 seconds on the clock as they're raring to go. The engines are being revved just outside the A site. Taco with the first frag. Fur as well, going to be able to back him up as it just comes down to Dosia and Hobbit. They're not in fantastic angles either, and they're miles apart. It might very well have to be the save here, potentially, as they're going to try and readjust the defense and run away. Yeah, the full-on save. Just get out of there and try and stay alive.
Yeah, they have to save in this scenario, obviously. Dosia can drop over an M4 into the next round. 1400 as well for Hobbit, so they can actually drop over 2 rifles here if they save from Gambit. And obviously the 4 M4 buy could be effective. Mo has enough for an M4, Dren has enough for an M4 as well, so the buy actually could be decent. for Gambit into the next round. You know, 4 rifles, maybe a UMP for one of these players. A player has to invest into some utility somewhere. But it does go 4-1. And SK reset the round loss bonus for Gambit as they claim their 4th round now as we go into round number 6. And yeah, Jack, this you know, sets up the narrative where SK, if they can reset, which they already have the money for Gambit, then win versus this 4-spy, they go 5-1. Eco for Gambit. 6-1 could be the scoreline on our screens, and at that point on the T side as well for SK on their map pick, you can see they came here ready and prepared.
Yeah, SK looking good so far on their T side. For Gambit as well, in terms of the investment they've gone for, it's quite restricted on utility slots. It's not too fabulous for them. Obviously, the economy not going to be able to support and bolster that bigger investment. Fur straight through as well, but let's see if the X-God himself can actually hold them back as the push comes round. Fur trying to hit them hard and fast. Dosia plays behind the smoke, gets the initial kill, but Taco's there for the trade as he'll be able to take a bite straight out of him. Cold as well. This is massive. He just cuts the rotate in seconds, especially as he finds the frags. Annihilates them with the AK as Mo will go down. Adren will be able to get a little bit of adrenaline pumping through his veins as he fires back. But already it's a bit of a tough one for them. It's quite late into the round. They have no kit. You can play for exit frag, sure, but that's about as good as they're going to get.
Ooh, 2 versus 2 here. But it seems like Adren opted to go for the save 20, 30 seconds ago, so Gambit not going to go overzealous into that scenario. They are lacking the defuse skill as well, so the time has ticked too far down. And it will be 5 now for SK, so Gambit will save 2 rifles to work with going into the next round. So at least that's something to work with. But yeah, 5-1 hit, Jack. Other 3 players from Gambit going to have to go on to full eco. Unless they try and force around these 2 weapons, but that might be a bit dangerous. And they could be digging their hole even deeper. 5-1 already. SK with a commanding advantage into this one, especially as you well add into the fact it is the T side for SK. So 4-round advantage, looking strong, and it is going to be the eco for the remaining 3 players here for Gambit. 2 rifles to work with. So are they going to stack both the rifles together? So if that SK go towards, say for example A, those 2 rifles can save towards B, or are they just going to put both of them in the same site and see if they can get aggressive and have some magic into this one?
Bolts with the AK kill on towards Hobbit there, gets the early opener. Adren will be able to fire back through as he does find some success with the Silence M4. Bolts keeping it going as well. Headshots coming out as we go back into this 3 versus 4. Mo, he's on the close angle with a P250, but they're not going to push up close enough to actually give him that golden opportunity to strike and cause any potential cracks or crevices.
SK making their way back towards T-spawn, it seems. All 3 players here from Gambit towards the A site. Obviously, they can try and salvage the weapon that was dropped towards Playground. But even then, no Kevlar here as the players are saved. Hobbit and Adren have both been taken out of the picture. Just unarmored opponents here for SK, so clean, clinical, efficient as well. It should go 6-1. Gambit pushing towards middle. They're going to retrieve the 2nd rifle, so at least they have something to work with. They can save the 2 rifles as well. Obviously, that saves themselves the investment into the next round, which means more cash to work with. They can invest into the utility into round number 8, which could be something to help them, because right now it's all looking rather desolate here for Gambit.
So they're going to try and go for this play. The B site is completely open for Gambit. It was a bit of a gamble, obviously, trying to go for the stack towards Deep Park, yourself towards Party, towards Close Long as well. Angles that aren't really going to work out too well on the B site has been taken. So SK go for the incredibly late plant. They're going to realize what's occurred, but there's no chance really for the retake in the 3 versus 4, especially when they don't have any kits, and the rotate time alone would burn so much off the clock. So it is the full save from Gambit that's going to have to come through for SK, meaning they'll now ascend to 6 rounds.
Well, at least it's going to be 3 weapons saved here for Gambit, at least. So an abundance of utility into the next one. 6-1 now, and it is going to be a 5-round deficit for Gambit. So could merit good time for a pause, try and recalibrate yourselves, reconfigure your CT side defense, because right now SK are deciphering it and basically tearing it apart piece by piece. But I mean, what do you change? I mean, we know that SK likes to leave Taco alone towards the B site. Do you either gain control towards B short? Do you either try and fight back towards mid, maybe send only 2 players towards B at the start of the round, have them go for an early smoke towards B short, early smoke towards Monster, have 3 players hold off SK towards mid, or do you take the risk of sending 2 towards B short? It's kind of hard.
It's true, the adaptation needs to be there though. Some kind of change in terms of the setup that we do actually see ran from Gambit into this round. Let's see what the adjustments will be. So now it's continuing on. Round number 8 now. 6 rounds been accumulated for SK, and they're showing no signs of slowing down. Gambit with still only 1 to play with.
Bomb left towards T-Spawn. Taka this time no longer waiting by the bin outside T-Spawn. Going to be going towards B shot, but one is lonesome, so it could be exploitable, especially because he is only on to 45 points of health. The HE grenade did connect perfectly. Once again, the same default here for SK. 2 players towards connector, 2 players towards mid as well, leaving Taco alone towards the B site. And then 15 left on the clock as the AWP from Fallen again, close range towards connector, so SK are going to be getting the exact same storyline as we've seen so far here on their T side. They gain control towards middle, they gain control towards A long, and they have the whole round at their disposal. They can group back towards the B site, hoping that Gambit over-rotate if they go for a execution towards the A site. This is the thing as well for SK. Because you have connector control, Jack, you can go for those fast rotations. So you can fake towards A, you know, in 7, 8 seconds, already be towards Monster, already be towards B short. And it's so easy to set a fake towards the A site and cause Gambit to go into disarray and overstack and over-rotate on their CT side.
Here comes the flash push. Bolt's going to actually go for the early entry, finds the frag on Mo, but Adren fires back through. So they go 1 for 1 in the early game. But here's the true play developing towards the B site. Everyone getting grouped up, hustling and bustling, ready to burst their way straight through. But they have to bypass this initial man. The frontline infantry in Dosia that wants to be the Dark Destroyer to punish them all. Waits for the push, bides his time, slowly gets through, finds the spray as well as he connects the first. Fallen saves his teammate though, and it's Fur and Fallen. As they've got sight control, they try and get into better angles as well. Adren will arrive ever so slightly, pushes his way back through. You might get one, but Fallen's always there for the trade. And SK get another round.
Well, because of the saved rifles, Jack, and the maximum round loss bonus as well now for Gambit, they do have cash to work with. 4 players could buy, and a pause is going to come in now for the CT side. So, what are they going to be changing? I mean, I said before, SK's default, 2 connector, 2 towards middle. Do you send a player or 2 players towards B short, try and get the frag onto Taco, then suddenly SK have to go back towards B, clear all of that out, and it slows the default down so much, and it makes things so much more awkward for them if Taco dies in these rounds. But then again, all it takes is Taco to play passive, and then suddenly Gambit have nothing to work with towards B. Do you maybe try go for a setup towards connector and challenge Bolts and Fallen? Obviously, they are clearing the angles out effectively. They contact up with the AWP from Fallen. They Molotov out the cubby. They flash and they peek towards the stairs. But we need to see Gambit get aggressive somewhere. If they keep playing passive towards A, towards B, they are going to continuously lose these CT rounds.
Nice early Molotov as well coming through. Gambit going to get the smoke down as they push straight round. Trying to go for this play towards short in the early game. Minute and 35 seconds on the clock now, as already they're so pushed up towards B. The CT's going to be dubious and waiting to see what exactly this true play will be coming towards them will look like as they go for the short aggression. Dosia actually pushing through the contact phase with the AWP. He has support as well from Hobbit as the flashbang people allow him to extend round. Gets the initial frag off the SMG and they can fall back.
Yeah, good flash there. Doesn't even connect onto Bolts, but he still wins that duel. And now SK have to retake map control towards B short. Adren going to be left alone towards the A site as well as the double rotation. Comes in towards the B site, especially now as well as Cold Zero nails Dosia. Adren pushing down connector. He's gaining information, the vital information that Gambit need right now. But he's going towards T-spawn side, Jack. Adren's going all the way in towards the back of connector. Going to go up the stairs, come in towards T-spawn. and it may be too good too late. Push comes in now, Taco loses the charge towards Monster.
Oh, Hobbit as well with a fast flick there to try and stop the push. Gets the second as well. The headshot on towards first. So close you could see he was priming himself for the third, but coldzera will end his reign of terror and live to fight another day as it's now the double face. Fallen and Cold. They need to work together as a good unit as the smoke goes down. Seized. If he goes for the play, he might actually get the frags, but Fallen baits him out and Cold will actually find the frag anyhow, but there's the flank from the rear. Adren comes in. Mo punishes as well. Gambit do actually get their second round. A good hold coming out towards the B site.
Yeah, and this time, you know, CT started aggression. Hobbit finds the first frag. SK clearer, yes. coldzera got the trade kill onto Doja. There's a 4 versus 4, but the aggression from Adren means they can go for the full rotation towards the B site. They know exactly where SK are lurking. They knew it was going to be a 4-man play towards the B site. They could get into great CT-sided positions towards that B site and were able to have what was required essentially to hold off the assault from SK. But only 2 players surviving, Jack, so it does beg the question of what happens if Gambit get reset, and especially now as Fallen gets so aggressive towards B short. Close.
As his op shots are going out. Fallen pushing his way through. Going to try and go for a bit of a cheeky peek there. Actually does hold back, but instead Bolts will deal the damage anyways. He gets a mighty little frag on towards Adren. Fallen now into a 4v5 as well. Still keeping it going through as Fallen with the AWP takes down Seized. Gambit, they were able to pick up the prior round, but it looks like this time they are going to just be absolutely obliterated, especially when the face comes out. Fallen with a headshot on Dosia, dispatching him as he shatters in his cranium. And they're still hungry for more.
Molotov does land this time towards barrels, and Hobbit going to be telegraphing exactly where he is. That's when the first frag. Mo as well chimes in towards Heaven, so suddenly a 3 versus 2 when actually we saw the drastic advantage here for SK, but Fur, that's going to be his sound cue. That's going to be his moment now to pounce on towards the free A bomb site. And yeah, bomb was in a scenario where it was dropped for SK. They can retrieve that, go back in towards T-spawn, make their long route back in towards mid, on towards the A side. They can even plant for bank if they want to as well. Fur with such a forward position.
Fur going to go down the back steps. Cold as well, going straight from the front as he works his way through toilets to try and take the hit towards the A site. Fur had the angle covered. Obviously just being able to control so much of the map now cuts off all of the rotations as Hobbit, he doesn't even want to try and run the risk. He's going to exit out through Monster, try and run out of there. Fallen might hear him if he actually does elephant foot his way past. Does bound straight across, so he can be hunted here. He has got quite far away, obviously just going to try and go for this save in T-spawn. But they're hungry for it. They want to try and push down.
Oh, of course. I mean, the risk versus reward right now is so high for SK. The money's going to be in tatters for Gambit going forward. They've been reset here. The second time into this matchup. And it does go 8-2 going forward now into round number 11. 6-round lead now for SK. Look at the money here for Gambit. I just don't see them coming back into this one, Jack. Same scenarios as Inferno. $2,000 for Hobbit, and apart from that, everyone's severely poorer. If they go for the force buy here, Jack, it's going to be CZs. Their round loss bonus has been reset again, but it is going to be 1,500 into the next round, so they can maybe save this one buy into the next round with a fairly weak buy. They can go for a double save, but even then, you give up double digits to SK, a 10-2 scoreline, and SK isn't going to be a team that's going to be able to, choke or throw away those sorts of drastic leads.
So Gambit, they go for this play all the way behind. Taco as well with the AK. Finds himself in a aimbot server right now as he just wants to try and kill them all. Easy frags coming through as one by one they start to hit the deck. It's just Seized and Hobbit remaining that are far away from each other as well. Actually takes the fight. Taco's hungry for it as he wanted to try and go for the aggressive face. Obviously the bomb is just there, but for Gambit, it's already over. The eco round was just basically about trying to get this one out of the way and then bounce back into the next one. But this will be 9 rounds for SK accumulated off the back of this.
Yeah, and it may even be 10. Their money's completely reset here, Jack. And 5 players staying alive so far here for SK, so their money can start to build. Obviously, you can see they've won so many rounds in a row, but there's only one player with a substantial amount of cash, and that's Fallen, $7,000. Apart from that, their money was, you could argue, susceptible or in a scenario where it could have been broken, but instead, Gambit going to be in a massive deficit and at a loss for words as well as to how they are into this scenario. Sees last player alive here, trying to see if he can find one frag, maybe get some exit frags, but Fur will deny any chance of that. 2-9 as we go into round number 12, and you can see they can buy rifles onto what? 1, 2, 3 players. UMP, fat mass buy for the remaining players, Adren and Mo. But even then, it's still such a poor buy if they were to go for that. But yeah, P250's upgraded pistol is going to be invested into, so it will be the quasi buy for Gambit. 2 sets of Kevlar as well, so more so an eco essentially. And they are going to be conceding double digits here for SK. So 10-2 scoreline check if we see that, which we most likely are. I just see no room back in this one for Gambit.
Goes up. Oh, he was low as well. Potentially with the 5-7, he might have caused some upsets or at least something to try and put the brakes on this all-out aggression that's coming through from SK. But Fur just on the entry, he just takes the fight he wants, and he always comes out on top as they've got B site control now. 1:20 left on the clock. Still finding those frags as they're just ripping faces off left, right, and center. Mo just going to be holding the close angle, hoping bolts might push through, and then he could land a nice little frag with a P250, but it's unlikely that's even going to occur. Fallen as well, gets contact and falls back.
Ooh. Seas is still alive here, dodging and darting and showing off his acrobatic skills towards the ladder, but eventually Cold Zero will end his chances. 1-5 here. Mo, last alive, has the deagle, but that's about it. Will eventually be dispatched by bolts. So 10-2 here. Double digits for SK. 8-round advantage going to round number 13, and they have so much cash to work with, so they can pretty much buy for the remaining 3 rounds here. And it will be a CT-sided pause. And now for Gambit, I mean, what do you change? The defaults work so well for SK. The individual angels work so well as well for SK. Everything goes in their favor. You can see Adren not looking too optimistic here in this scenario, and you wouldn't be. You know, the 2-1 victory versus Tyloo into the lower bracket beginnings. You're now versus SK in a scenario where it was either Astralis or SK. It goes to show just how unforgiving this group has been.
Yeah, this really has been stacked. Obviously, it's been all-out warfare across the board. They've all had to bring their A games and hope for the best. As now we dive back in with the action here, continuing on. Gambit on the CT side. They whip out the double AWP. 2 AWPs is better than 1, but can they actually find any success with this buy?
Guess we're about to find out. 2 AWPs versus SK's defaults. Quite effective. It could be effective. I mean, if they have an AWP maybe played towards the top of connector, waiting for Fallen to walk into their crosshair. Towards a long potentially. As it will be Mo towards the A side. Hobbit would in the other AWP as well towards B. So they have 1 AWP towards Pillar on the B side. And the other one towards A long. So will SK be walking into that trap, or will they be able to deal with this setup now opposed onto them by Gambit? Once again, Taco alone towards B, does the spam, tries to make it look like they're doing the normal default, but actually they are going to be going heavy towards mid. Taco going towards connector as well, so he's going to be rejoining the ranks with bolts. So 2 connector, 3 towards A long, and the run boost here. This could get interesting.
Well, let's see as they dive around. Unfortunately, there's no targets there for them, but they're still playing quite cheekily as they push up, developing towards A, encroaching as much as they can, obviously getting close. Here comes the players, they regroup, taking that control towards close mid. The 2 CTs that are set up, they're going to try and help each other out. You've got Adren, supported by Mo. So they have the open rifle, they can try and aid each other. Counter boost play as well, once again for Fallen, gets him into the elevated spot so he can speak out towards the A site. He's not going to be able to find those frags. Mo actually does get taken though, but he trades a little tag back on towards bolts as here comes the play on toilets.
Oh, that Molotov's going to force the face from Mo. Look at the HP as well, they're so low as they walk through the smoke. Flashbang from Fallen, doesn't actually connect there, so it's going to be the 3 versus 3. Ooh. Taco as well taken down by Seas. The Seas goes nuclear, gets the 4th, and now going for the ace with 8 seconds left. It's going to be Hobbit to find the final frag. 10-3 as Gambit maybe back into this one as Seas does save that round. It was a 5 versus 3 before the new addition to Gambit did step into the roster and also step into the limelight there as he showed us his true inner star power.
Yeah, seizing the days. He was just able to find those really beautiful shots, quick reaction times, and dealing a lot of important damage, trying to share the load a little bit and make Gambit's life easier, but obviously that is only going to be 3 rounds they've accumulated even now. The rebuy comes back through. For SK, it's nothing. They're going to brush it off like dirt off their shoulder, and then try and continue on.
Oh, Mo with the entry there towards A long this time. The AWP is going to be effective. Bolts, aggressive towards B. Finds the first frag. Tries to line up the spray as well onto Hobbit, but eventually will be taken down. 4 versus 3 is Hobbit. Found the second kill. But he's onto fairly low HP. Going to be Fur making his way up towards A long as well. And Mo and Adren tunnel visioned in towards Toilet. So if he comes in from behind, could have such a good advantage point to come in from the flank as Fallen. Gets the trade frag onto Hobbit. Going to be one player towards Water, that is Seized. Makes his way towards Barrows. And the whiff of the spray there from Fur as Mo actually wins that duel with the USP, Jack.
Yeah, very interesting, obviously, as now the play comes in towards B. Seized as he hides behind Toxic, peeks out, gets that kill on Fallen. It's just Cold remaining. 45 seconds left on the clock. He tried to cross. Cold gets spotted. Seized takes him down. Gambit, they're going to get a 4th round. They're starting to actually bring it back a little bit towards the end of this one as they get the momentum going through. And now it comes down to the final round of the half. 4 rounds for Gambit, 10 for SK.
6-round advantage here. Double digits for the T side of SK Gaming. As we go into the final round, Gambit going to need to get 5 here, otherwise this could be another blowout stomp here for the Brazilian side as they send potentially Gambit packing. P coming in towards Connector here from Adren. But will eventually fall back as well. Mo has the AWP stationed towards Toilet, so they are going to be conceding control towards A long. But the same default that was so effective for SK early on. 2 towards Connector, 2 towards mid, leaving Taco alone towards the B site. You know, he spams towards short, throws at that Molotov, denies early B control from Gambit. Ooh, fair Molotov there from Bo. It's not going to really be changing too much though.
So now they want to try and go for this play in towards the B site. Seized. Goes for the jump face. They will fire back with the AKs, attempting to deal some damage as this play comes out towards A, slowly crawling their way through. Will SK be able to get themselves 11 rounds on the board here at the end of the first half, or is this going to be Gambit getting themselves a bit more of a buffer as they move over to their T side after this? Mo, if the timing would have been different, that could have been a double kill for him, but instead is forced back. Going to set the place ablaze though, as his play could be a bit audacious. Peeks back through, tried to run the risk, and instead Fallen will finish him.
Does indeed. A 5 versus 4 now for SK. 35 seconds left to work with. Bomb still towards middle as well as they're going to be lining and priming their smoke grenades to go for the execution towards the A site. Smokes are deployed towards the center of the site, towards the truck position as well, which means they can get the bomb down and play the afterplant towards Tortoise here, Jack.
Try and flood their way through, see if they can find success, but what will be the difference maker? Taco with the initial frag denies Adren from getting the early advantage. There is a play from Mighty Bolts himself as well as he takes down Dosia. Fur comes through with the AK fire on towards Seas, and it's just left on Hobbit. The Clutch Master pushes out, finds the headshot on Cole, but the angle's covered, goes down as his back gets broken. 4 rounds for Gambit, 11 for SK. They lead the charge as they lock it down on the first half.
Yeah, first half of Inferno was 13-2 for SK. And SK went on to close that matchup. Seems like deja vu coming into Overpass, as this is the map pick here for the Brazilians. And the second half pistol is pivotal for Gambit if they want a chance of taking this to train. But I guess we're going to find out their fate shortly as we go to a short break.
Welcome back, everybody. SK Gaming currently leading the charge with 11 rounds as they rip their way through. They've systematically understood how to shut down Gambit in the majority of these rounds. Gambit's been struggling. It's only been moments of individual brilliance that has really allowed them to claw it back as they sit there with 4 in the bank. We move on over now to their T side, SK on the CT side.
On Inferno, as you said, individual moments of glory. C's on Inferno had those mid pushes, Mo had a few rounds as well in Inferno. And coming into Overpass as well, it seems like C's is the only player that really sets up these rounds here for Gambit. SK on their T side, the defaults being so effective at transitioning into round victories. And now 4-11. Gambit on Inferno able to get a few rounds mustered up and eventually were fell short essentially. But coming to this one, it will be first frag found by Cold Zero towards B short as the remaining players here from Gambit go for the march towards A long.
That's a punishing first pick as well, so nicely done from Cold to actually go for the aggressive face. Takes down C's that, actually, funnily enough, has been the difference maker. You wouldn't expect him to be such an impactful fragger, but he's actually been getting quite a few critical kills on his game so far.
Smoke coming in towards CT from Hobbit. Flashbangs as well, so they can try and burst onto the site. Fer getting in close, but eventually gets taken down by Dozier.
Yep, first fallen, the X-God himself. He's able to handle 2 at once as he takes them both down, charges through the site. Adren gonna deal some damage if he can. Taco, Cold, and Bolts, the trio that will always strike fear in the hearts of their opposition that try to push back towards them. Taco gets the first, takes down Hobbit. Dozier trying to deal even more if he can as he has himself a threesome in that one as he takes down Bolts. There's the response from Taco. Blows him to bits as it falls to Adren now. The hard task of denying this. Taco, he's got no kit. Time's ticking away. It's now or never. But the extension from Adren. He tried to push through. Taco gets the kill. He's allowed to go for the defuse as well. SK are going to get the pistol.
I think they still may have it though. Has he got the kit?
Oh, it's going to be close. This is really going to be on the wire. SK get it.
A few seconds left there, but strange. I mean, considering the after plant as well, the bomb is planted default, planted for toilets, planted for A long. And in the 2 versus 3, they opt to go away from where the bomb was planted. So all it takes is a 1 versus 1. Taco taps the bomb. He knows it's to draw out the peak from the final remaining player from Gambit. As the wide face came in, he connected that headshot. 12-4 here. Gambit. It's a shame. I mean, this tournament has been so stacked and so difficult. It's so unforgiving. You lose these best of 3 deciding matchups in the lower bracket, and you are gone. Round number 17. Going to be the eco coming out from Gambit, of course. The bomb was planted, so they can eco this round and buy up into round number 18, but even then it's going to be potentially a 30-4 scoreline. And with, a 9-round deficit, a fairly weak buy as well with just AKs like utility, are they going to be able to claw themselves back into it? I just don't see it happening.
Especially when they're walking towards the meat grinder. Ferocious Fer, the big man himself, that just wants to shake his moneymaker and deal some damage, as he will be able to find both those frags with the MP9. Sure, Hobbit should be able to trade it back, but he doesn't. Gets caught off guard, was not ready to tackle Fer in the toilets.
5 versus 2 then, obviously. 3 kills found here with the SMG, so it's going to be $1,800 worth of cash for himself to take over. No Kevlar as well for Dozier, so it's going to be the Deagle armor for Adren. Obviously finding frags on the pistol round, which means he has the cash to, afford that and still be able to go for the AK buy. Actually, no, he's going to have $3,550 into the next round, Jack. So there might be AK Kevlar, no head armor, or a Galil potentially, if he wants to have that helmet to deny the one-shot headshot. But does get spotted out here. And eventually Dozier lands the deagle as well. So 4 versus 2, but from behind it's bolts.
Yeah, damage been done from Dozier there. Wants to lead the charge, nearly with the flick, but wasn't strong enough. Goes down for the MP9 as well, so it's even more money being accumulated, which means the AWP coming out, thrown straight over to Fallen. Let's see if he can lead by example now once the big green gun's been given back to him.
Round number 18 then. First Byron going into the second half. And Adren, as I said, didn't have enough to go for the AK buy. Instead going to be going on to the deagle. Probably dropped his AK over to someone else, which means Dozier can afford full utility. So they do have grenades to work with on one play, but the HE is... Ooh, actually doesn't connect as much damage as I thought. Only does 1 piece of damage onto Adren. As they go for the 4-player contact up towards A long, leaving just C's alone towards the B portion of the map. It's going to be met by Fur.
Fur, as always, he's done in the MP9. He's ready for it as he wants to start to rumble his way in the round. Peeks out, gets the first. He's so crisp at getting those initial headshots, even with those SMGs. He knows how to pack a punch as he gets the first kill. Formed as well. Peeking up, takes the head clean off of Adren, and then there were 3 on Gambit.
Sounds like a childhood narrative story. And then there were 3. Minute left to work with here. Bomb still in towards Toilets. Aggression here towards Connector from Cold0, which means they're going to be anticipating a stack towards A or B. But where is it going to be? Falling towards Pillar now. Cold0. Aggressive angle. Finds one. Finds it the second as well and connects it. Just going to be seized alone. Actually gets great timing there to Fallen. But the bomb is towards Connector Jack.
Still, C's playing it smart, even though the game's almost done. You can see the instincts coming out there as he tucks away the AWP, grabs the AK. Does blow down bolts as well. Very crisp as he finds the tap. But even then, this is going to be the 14th round grabbed for SK. He's not in a good position. And this is only going to be 19 rounds into the game as well after this one is closed out. So SK being able to find a ton of success very quickly, very dominantly. C's goes down as well, but at least it's before time as Cold0 will set him up on a date with the coroner.
14-4 then. 10 round advantage here for SK on their CT side of Overpass. 1 round away from match point as well. Gambit, obviously, they're going to have to force into all of these rounds because they need rounds on the board as soon as possible. They can't afford to give away match point for free, essentially. If we see a 15-4 scoreline, you know, 11 match points then for the Brazilian side. There's just no way they let that one slip. SK going to be moving on forward into the lower bracket. I believe they are now 1 best of 3 away from claiming a spot at the Spodek. But can they try and topple over these upgraded pistols?
Oh, Fallen with the Molotov out first as he tried to be a bit cheeky into the round. Did deal damage, gets the initial frag, but the fire comes back through in the form of Adren as he actually gets 2 kills in quick succession. Falls back into a 2v3 as the push starts to set up towards the A site. They can recover the bomb. Bolts is there, but will he be strong enough to hold this back? Peeks out. Adren actually does annihilate him.
Oh.
Taco as well. That is troublesome as he finds the headshot. Somehow they've made it into a 1v1. Hobbit, he's on the site. He's going to get the bomb down. It's a play from Cold that can mean all the difference. He has 1 flash. Cold has 2 in a kit. And the HE.
This is quite smart from Hobbit. He's planted for Bank. That means that Cold0 is going to be anticipating him to be towards CT. But obviously he's cleared all of this out. He knows he has to be towards Long or towards Toilets. Is he going to be guessing exactly where Hobbit is?
Cold comes through. As he peeks around, Cold, you can see, dubious as ever, trying to at least get a read, something that will elude him to the exact play of the round. He's going to tap the bomb. That will force Hobbit's hand, but Hobbit gets the frag, shuts them down. Somehow that round works out well. And SK don't achieve it. That will be Gambit getting 5. But it's still going to be hard for them, obviously, for SK. At least that's quite a big chunk of damage done to their economy. So it is going to be a bit of a miffed buy, just grabbing whatever they can work with. But the same could be said for Gambit ever so slightly as they reinvest through. Let's see what they can actually achieve as they're going to starve their economy, pumping the cash back into this one.
Yeah, SK just going to be going for the save here, just going to be the eco. CZ's P250 there for a few players, but apart from that, no Kevlar, just one flashbang to work with. This is, should be a fairly one-sided round, but Taco with a drive by 2K goes for the third as well as he reloads his CZ up.
Triumphant play from Taco there, but there's the frags going back finally the way towards Gambit as Mo and Hobbit deal damage. Mo with a second as well, but Taco, he's on for the haste potentially here with the CZ as he's finding critical damage second after second. He's given the opportunity. Upgrades to an AK as well. Might be able to get this headshot on towards Dosia. It just depends on the luck of the draw. Peeks through. Taco, he's had 4, hungry for more as he starts to get ready to bound through and charge into the action. Cold as well with the face. He telegraphs the location of Hobbit as Taco is the only remaining member. He's got to stop the play and get the defuse in quick succession. There's no time and no round either as Hobbit will annihilate him.
Good economical damage dealt there to Gambit, but obviously SK being so close, only 1 round away from actually getting to match point and eventually closing out this best of 3. The economy for Gambit isn't really the main commodity. The commodity here for the CIS team is going to be these rounds and trying to come back and get back to a respectable scoreline essentially before SK even get worried into this one. Going to be bringing out the double up setup. Taco and Fallen going to be warding those. 1 defuse get there for Fur. They have 3 smokes to work with. No Molotovs. But a Mach 10 for a Dren, Deagle for Doja as well. They have the up onto Mo as a consolation. But still, the economical damage actually facilitates such a strong position now for SK.
Fur pushes his way through Playground, looking to make a bit of a play into the round. As actually, Fallen has been removed, so it does ride quite heavily on Fur. He can listen out to the audio cues as the nades miss as well. So they're just giving him exactly what he wants, all of the info, and now a frag as well as he finds the headshot with the UMP, takes down Dosia, and he's going to play around this to roam through. Taco, just absolutely demolishing him, Snods. They're allowed to bob and weave, choose firefights that they want to go for, as it's a 3v3 in the round, a minute left on the clock. The T's have got B site control, but Adren is trapped miles away. Yeah, he could backstab, but if they do go for this play on B, they're going to be able to get in. It's going to be awkward for him to actually aid his teammates now.
Well, the bomb is planted. 3 versus 3. Diffuse kit onto Fur. Has the AWP into the retake. Not really the best and most effective weapon into this scenario. But they have got the rifles to work with as well as the bomb. Makes it... Ooh, actually, Fur has a little bit of a joust here with the AWPs between him and Adren. Up the USP, will land the dink as well. Eventually connects onto that frag, bolts as well towards short, finds seized. Hobbit now on the 1 versus 3.
Hobbit, he's done it before, but will he do it again? Gets the first spray as he opens this round up. The smoke goes down. It's now or never that they've got to jump on the bomb soon, and he's able to find these kills. Fur, he's got a kit, but he's got no time as he dives onto it with the confidence, forced to run away. Get out of there with the AWP. No, he won't. So that is the AWP gone as well, as Gambit now gets a 7.
14-7, as you said, as we go into round number 22. Hobbit with a 1 versus 3. Uses the positioning there. Works with the clock as the bomb ticks far too low. No chance for SK into that one. 14-7 then. Jack, are you believing in the comeback? Do you think this is going to go to train?
Well, it's kind of what we saw last time around, right? Over in Inferno. Obviously, the longer the game went on, Gambit started to actually understand how to counter SK, got the feelers out. This T side's looking a lot better as well because they are winning rounds. They're showing they've got the aim capability. It just needs to keep going. So let's see. Cold, though, he could be the counter of a lifetime as he pushes up close, gets the first. SK back with confidence, and this is where the issues are going to arrive. Sees, though, actually able to just shut them down towards mid. It's only Fur left in a 1v3. No weapons are going to be close enough by for him to actually scavenge and help himself out. As he lobs out the flashbang to try and confuse and distract him. Peeks with a P250, gets contact, and has to scurry off once more.
Yeah, I mean, exact same as we saw from Inferno. One-sided half for SK. Gambit come back into the second half, but it's always too late. They always perform when there's no pressure left and there's nothing to lose, essentially. But 14-7. Unless something crazy happens here, Jack, we're going to be seeing a 14-8 as well. So 6 rounds will separate these two teams, so maybe there's a chance to come back into it. Bomb planted towards A. So just a matter of time now before we go into the next round.
For Gambit as well, though, it's the fact that even when they do start to come back, SK have already been able to achieve 14 rounds. So they're 1 away from getting match point at the very least, and then be sitting there with their safety net of overtime. That's where it gets a little bit awkward.
Maybe. Obviously for Fur, they know they've got the frags towards middle. Maybe try and save an AK into the next round, as that could help their money. Obviously, well, first save an AK, they can drop over and up to Fallen. Fallen can buy full utility, as now he has to go for the AWP, Kevlar, and Flashbang, so not much utility for him. But will it matter? 14-8. As it will be another good buy here for Gambit. Actually, I'd say goodbye. Maybe not the best buy, because Jack, no AWP here for Mo. So, in terms of the defaults, maybe it's going to be a little bit different to what they're used to. But Mo is actually fairly solid with both the rifle and the AWP. He's not one of these AWPers that relies so heavily on just the AWP to find success. He is fairly versatile. Oh, it's going to be a B-rush as well, as it's going to be Gambit up in the ante.
The B bombardment, Fallen with the first. Actually, no, Fallen's unable to connect the shot as he goes down. Already the damage has been done as Dosia and Adren as well, even more coming through it. Two massive impact frags from him, and seized, annihilates coldzera. He was up top, but he was so exposed, it was easy for him to find the frag, leaving just Fur alone as the last man alive, which means Gambit will now get 9 rounds. Fur is forced into a save, because there's no point just running in and throwing away that economy. This means the next round as well most likely go the way of Gambit. They can actually start to get themselves back into a reasonable position. But once again, is it going to be what we saw in Inferno, where it's just too late? SK have just got that many rounds that even when you do start to get momentum back in your favor, it's not going to matter that much in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, I agree. I think SK have too good of a foothold, or too strong of a foothold already into this one. You know, 14-9, still 5-round deficit here for Gambit, but they're making it closer, as they have now won 5 rounds in a row. It's very bleak for Gambit when it was a 14-4 scoreline. Maybe we have written them off too quickly. Round number 24, it will be the quality buy coming out from SK. They are going to be onto the full maximum round loss bonus, so they can actually just go for the quality buy here. You know, Scout, Kevlar there for coldzera, upgraded pistols as well, and they can still go for a very good buy into round number 25. But it might be the exact same scoreline, 16-10. Let's see when SK eventually wake up here.
Yeah, obviously not too much that SK can actually do with this round. Scout on Fur, so if they do get tags, maybe they can net a couple of consolation frags, but that is about it, really. As Gambit should just be able to steamroll over them. You've got the firepower, just work together, don't play into the pistol advantage, and give them the close quarters environments where they can actually take you down in fast fashion.
Bomb still towards T spawning from Gambit. Obviously, they're going to be holding for the aggression from the CT side, expecting these pistols to get aggressive, you know, towards Be Sure, towards Monster, or maybe even more so towards Connector. As they just hold. 50 seconds left now. First spots one player towards A long. Does he know about the additional one? Bomb making his way in towards T spawn, coming towards the A site as well. And so Gambit going to be concluding towards the A site, but well, SK let them get that far.
Oh, Fur tagged up. He comes out from Mo. He's got the AWP in his hands, and he knows how to wield it as he gets the first. Oh, the flank from Seized as well. Shuts them both down as he catches them off guard. They were unable to achieve anything there as they just turned to dust. coldzera from miles away with the CZ, not the best position to wield the weapon from, so he also goes down, and that means Gambit do get that free round essentially at that point. So they get 10 in the bag. SK, here comes the buy. Straight back into it. Fallen, in terms of utility, doesn't have a flash. He's actually just got a decoy and a smoke, obviously the smoke being the more important one. But the rest of his side, they're armed. They're actually good. They've got tons of utility, but you've only got the one kit on Taco as well, which could be an issue in a retake situation.
Yeah, maybe, especially if he dies alone towards B short. Maybe the bomb goes down towards the A site. There is potential for that to be an issue or an error. But aggression here from Fur. Actually, what's smart is he goes for the HE grenade towards stairs. That way it nullifies any hearing or impairs their hearing, so he can get closer and catch some unexpected prey. But actually, Redrin going to win that duel before he goes down to 12 HP. So damage has been dealt, but in terms of the manpower, Gambit have the lead once again.
Yeah, when it came down to the playground fight, there was going to be no win for the bullies today, as the Dren were able to come out on top in that one. Obviously, they hold their angles as well. Not sprinting through anywhere just yet or overcompensating. Starts still a minute 11 seconds left on the clock as they slowly spread through and take control towards party.
One towards B here from SK Gaming. Going to be leaving coldzera alone towards that B bomb site. Fallen Taco Bolts all stationed towards A. And a good read as well coming up from the Brazilian side, as it will be 4 players outside A. 3 towards A long as they have smoked the end of it, so they can go for the burst to the smoke, but obviously Mo having the AWP maybe the burst play isn't really the best scenario for that one. Oh, Adren is so low. But actually it's going to be Hobbit finding that frag onto Taco.
Here comes the push, bolts towards mid as well with the M4, but now he's just left in an awkward spot. He goes down to Dosia, meaning it's just Cold remaining. Cold, it's not worth the risk. Just hold on to the M4, you've got armor, stay alive. You've still got a couple of rounds to play with. You can afford to concede this one, but that's when there needs to be the reset starting to come through. SK have to get their noggins together, get some ideas floating about, and adjust about this. As Gambit, they're getting on a roll, and they're getting close as well. This will be their 11th. You move on from that, obviously the buy is still going to be pretty lackluster depending on what SK actually opt to go for. Gambit could be pretty close to actually toppling this scoreline, at least equalizing it.
Oh, 100%. It feels like they found their formula here on the T side. Cold will survive, actually. He's got 2 players on the hunt as well that are rather close in terms of their vicinity, but he will eventually get out away with the M4. Round number 26, then 14 to 11. SK, I mean, it's kind of hard to break these rounds down, Jack, because Gambit have done something different every single time. B rushes, a long contacts where they get a frag through the smoke, contact plays towards the B site, connector set defaults as well. Gambit have been changing things up so much, it's been so hard to read them, actually. But there will be another quasi-buy coming out from SK. You can see they do invest into Kevlar. Scout for Fallen as well. M4 for Cold Zero that was saved from the last round, so they do have something to work with here into this one. Aggression again from Fur with that MP9 up close and personal.
Fur. He could be the opener though. If you go to this play and pushes through, you can get into the backline potentially. Obviously, Adren's just there, just holding. We could see the backstep from Dosia, but Dosia will clear it. Dosia gets it for free. It's easy. He can just aim towards his head, get the headshot, and take him down. That's already one man gone for SK. There's now the manpower advantage for Gambit. The early smoke over all the way towards toilets from towards the B site where they're going to be grouping up, getting themselves ready, revving their engines to burst in towards B.
Smoke towards the front of toilets coming out from Gambit, trying to use that as a ruse or sell a fake to try and force SK to over-rotate, but it seems like they haven't budged just a bit.
Oh, Taco with the Deagle gets the first shot. Surely not like this, as he'll be able to dig down and annihilate the first man, but the AK is just so much more superior as they come in and land the aggression, finding these frags that are so direly necessary. It's Fallen and Bolts remaining. Fallen with a scout, Bolts with an M4, but only 8 HP. Bolts has to save. Fallen can attempt to do something potentially, as it's really running a risk here, obviously looking for those heads, but he doesn't have armor. It's only the scout he'll lose. But even then, it's not going to be fantastic for him as he invests into it. He's going to decide to try and do something cheeky, but it was obviously going to go in favor of Gambit. They get it. 12 rounds on the board now. SK, they've been starved for cash in so many of these rounds. They've been forced into awkward scenarios. No free M4 either.
Yeah, that wasn't a fun investment there from SK, so it's not the end of the world that they did actually lose that one. Obviously, the saved M4 from Cold Zero. Cold Zero able to drop over a scout to Fallen, so they had some decent weaponry there. But it all comes down to this. Gambit, if they win this one, they go to 13. Obviously, then SK forced onto another quasi-buy. This could be 14 for Gambit if they can win versus the now present 4-buy. And obviously, the quasi-buy into round number 28 if they win both of them in a row. And if it goes down to 14, SK is so good at handling the pressure. It all comes down to this new roster. I say new roster, the new addition, or untested roster essentially, from Gambit Gaming and how they do actually deal with that sort of stress. 3 players, or should I say 4 players, is a boost from Adren and Dosia towards the playground, holding for an A-long push, expecting Fur to get aggressive again. But 3 towards A, Hobbit and Connector, and C's alone towards the B-bomb site. And actually going to be going back towards T-spawn, it seems. Just as Gambit make their move here towards A. So slow default coming out with a minute to left on the clock, and no one really showing their hand early.
So the double AWP setup as well. It's going to be interesting to see how much more impactful this will be. This really should be a bit of a game changer, because obviously for SK, their CT side economy has been quite restricted in these prior few rounds, so that's the reason they've been losing so many of these rounds. This time set up with the 2 players focusing in towards mid. You've got Fallen obviously going to be done in the primary AWP, Cold Zero on the second as he holds towards close short.
Only one more flashbang left for Gambit, and as I say that, Jack, Caster's Curse, as the flash is deployed towards middle. No more flashes to work with here, so these double AWPs from SK could be so effective versus the lack of utility here from Gambit. 30 seconds left. They need to make a move as soon as possible.
25 seconds on the clock. The smokes go out. This is it. It tells them that the push is coming. The face comes through. Fallen with the first, Fallen with the second as well, as he flicks behind, but it's going to be Hobbit and Seas to be the difference makers. They want to defy this and be able to cause a resistance against this CT side defense. Taco, Cold, and Bolts. The trio that needs to try and clutch this round out. Taco coming in from behind. Seized is low. If he finds this frag, things will start to fall apart. Hobbit's there as well, so there's always trade potential, but he'll at least be able to give that information back to his teammates. It just depends on the peak. Doesn't do it. The double face. Seized and Hobbit, they had the angle. They're able to work out well. Time's ticked straight through. They only have one kit on Bolts, and they can't run the risk. They have to save. Gambit get 13 rounds. They're one away now from equalizing the scoreline.
This is uncharacteristic here from SK, being unable to close out a matchup when you had a 14-4 lead. Gambit now winning. My goodness, how many is it now? 4, 8, 9 rounds in a row to bring this one back to a 13-14 scoreline. And you can see there's only been 3 explosions of the bomb. So in terms of that, Gambit have found the frags 6 out of those 9 times. And only 1 round separates these two teams, and that 1 round is going to be the Mag 7 for Fallen. 2 M4s for Bolts and Tac. Obviously, they did save their rifles. The UMP for Fur has to get aggressive here towards B short. Cold Zero, if he's not blind, should be able to find this first frag, and he misses the easy shot.
Ooh, this is unlike Cold. Misses the initial shot. The HE going through as well. Nearly dunks him out the server. He's alive on 1 HP, but somehow he's still breathing, and he just has to stay composed. At least he's got the AWP, the weapon you'd want when you're in a situation like that. As they start to backtrack. If they do go for this gamble, Fur can be so critical. He's got to be the man to upset the round, the catalyst, to allow the side of SK to actually lock it down as he finds the frags. 2 already achieved. Mo just on 1 HP. He's going to try and blast him out the server as he lobs a nade in response with the AWP as well, but it's not going to do anything. Meanwhile, over at the barn towards the B site, Seized with the AK out. Trying to find success. Molotov comes in. Taco has the fallback. There's the incendiary response to light up their day if they dare to push through it. Sure, the AK frags are coming in as C starts to slay anyone that dares to attempt to defy him. And it's on Bolts, Cold, and Fur. Cold, he's only got 1 HP, but obviously he has the AWP. The spam as well from Bolts. Tags up Dosia so low. Everyone on that T side could be dead in seconds as Bolts starts to get fed frags. They push towards him, Snods, as he will find that kill. Dosia as well, covering towards short, goes down. He just didn't have the health advantage that he needed. Time's starting to tick through. They've only got 1 kit, and Mo has the AWP. He just needs to stay alive, but the flank is coming in from behind. All it takes is a matter of time in Fur with a kill. SK will get it. They get match point as they go through now.
15-13. Fur may have done enough here to keep SK into this one. The aggression towards Playground catches Gambit off guard. They find the 2 frags with the UMP, 5 versus 3. Gambit did a good job there to actually make it into a round that was fairly competitive, going back towards Monster, catching Taco off guard, and obviously trying to go for the after-plan victory into that scenario. 15-13, and if Gambit win this round, Jack, it will be a economical reset for SK. And if it goes 14-15, there's a high chance we see OT. The reason being is the money will be so abysmal for SK. As the fist bumps come out, Gambit were down 14-4, and now they see themselves in a feasible scenario to even find this map and potentially send us into overtime, and who knows, maybe even into Train, a map which both these teams are so comfortable on.
Fist bumps to get the confidence going. Let's see if the blood's going to be pumping. And we can see some bloodlust from Gambit. It needs to be a glorious couple of rounds back-to-back here to actually keep them in the action as the B plays coming through. They found success time and time again when they did go for this in the prior rounds. Let's see if it works out this time. Taco wants to try and go for the audacious play. Flashbang face as he charges through. Fallen as well, trades it back as it's just blow for blow constantly. But Gambit, they come out on the worst side. Only 2 of them remain as the bomb is down in CT side control. Still 1:25 on the clock.
Great Molotov there from Bolts. The bomb still unable to be in the possession here from Gambit. 1:20 left on the clock here. Adren still towards the barrel here, holding basically for Fur to come in from middle. They're expecting Fur to be Pushing mid, coming towards T-spawn and coming with a flank. There's still a minute left to work with here for Gambit, so a failed smoke towards the default site might open up opportunity here for the CT-sided players.
You can see the pressures on them, Snods. Obviously, those small things right now, the blood flowing, the comms are going to be pumping, everyone's going to be tense as they get into this situation where it's do or die. SK, they have 15 rounds. If they find success and do force out a win in this one, they're going to 2-0 the series and be continuing on. That will be Gambit going home as Gambit push their way up. Mo has to be the difference maker. Adren actually starts to make it work as well. Annihilates Fur with the AK, gets the early opener, now readjusts. The cavalry's arrived, and the push has to come through. Very smart Molotov. Mo's allowed to play around it, gets the kill. Mo with 2, and they find the round. They make it work as they clutch it out. Gambit are 1 away from forcing OT.
Still match point though for SK, and we know how strong they can be with those weakened weapons, UMPs, shotguns, scouts, you name it. One more round for Gambit to bring back the prophecy of the Cinderella story, maybe, being 14-4 down, a 10-round deficit as they bring it back. And now they reset the money for SK. That pause was extremely effective as now SK, what they got left in the tank here is going to be the MP7 for Bolts, CZ for Cold Zero, Mag 7 for Fallen, Fur being tagged up as well by the Molotov towards middle. As Uni has a CZ to work with, MP9 as well for Tacos. The buy is so weak.
Being tagged up by Molotovs as well. Gambit showing they couldn't handle the heat there as they had to push through the molly. Early damage being done. Mo locked down to below 50 HP. Adren as well, 76. It's not the best start. Does bode well for SK in the early round, but obviously the Arsenal's weak. It's restricted. It's going to have to really cause them to adapt their playstyle. And you can see how that's being telegraphed now by the way they're setting themselves up in these positions.
Bomb coming towards the A site as well. It's going to be a group play towards A long. As Fur holding the close angle, the CZ, we know how strong he can be, not only up close, but with his UMPs or CZs as he does cower back just a little bit. But he's the only line of defense here from SK. Going to be hitting the steps towards A long as well as they line their smokes up. But do they expect the close range play? And Mo wins the duel.
Oh, he just had to slow him down. All he needs to do is be able to buy his teammates time to rotate, but the early tag isn't enough. You get Mo low, sure, but in terms of utility to actually finish him off rather than fighting him with weapons, they've only got 1 HE on Fallen. Let's see if he's going to be able to hold on to that and find anything with it as this push comes round. He lobs out the HE into disarray. It does nothing in the round. Now it's 30-second. The push is starting to brew. They get ready with confidence. Fallen trying to be a shotgun shogun, but from absolutely miles away. It's not going to work out well. This should be Gambit grabbing this round and forcing it into overtime. Unless Cold Zero's got something to say. Causes a ruckus, but it gets shut down. He isn't able to do anything as it all comes to Taco. 1 versus 4. 2 players incredibly low. You've got an MP9. He tries to force the issue, but instead Adren will fire back through. We're going to overtime here on Overpass.
How on earth have Gambit brought this one back? 15-15. SK. Is overtime going to be the reality check they need to wake up back into this one out of their slumber? Did he just throw something? Did you see that?
No, what did he do?
I think he just threw something.
Oh, yeah,
he
did. Caught it.
You know, warming up the hand-eye coordination during the pause.
He's on the ball, mate.
Literally.
That was a good catch.
Literally on the ball. Well, overtime going to be coming out here. The second map of this best-of-3. Loser of this best-of-3 series actually will be exiting the tournament in its group stages. So, a lot on the line here, especially for SK, having that 2 out of 4 tournament victories in terms of the Grand Slam, as this is being one of those big tournaments that goes towards that $1 million line share victory prize, but if they do manage to claim 4 out of those 10 tournaments.
How wild would it be if they trade each other's advantage map here and Gambit finds the win on, obviously, SK's map, SK find the win on Inferno, and we go the whole way, and we actually do see Train played out. Could be an interesting storyline, but let's see, as overtime needs to conclude first. Fur loses his face as Adren sprints out. He knows how to wield an AK, and he knows how to start off an overtime in style.
5 versus 4. Taco is low. Molotov towards mid. Not sure what that one's for, but nevertheless, it'll be the op for Fallen towards A long. Leaving 2 towards A and 2 towards B. So they are spreading their CT defense thin across the map towards each and every site. And now for Gambit, they have the 1-player advantage. They can just group together, have the 5 versus 4, and trade these frags. Adren is low. Adren also has no utility, so try and get him into the action first and trade that frag and have the players with HP, have the players with utility as well to find success. into those afterplants.
Well, Taco being inquisitive towards B, pushed out for the info play, but he's been shut down in seconds. Cold as well. It need to be a superstar spray down to actually get them the advantage they needed, but it's all gone wrong. All of a sudden, it's just left on Bolts, and Bolts has now hit the deck as he's been blown to bits from Mo. Gambit, they get the opening round in overtime. This is looking good for them if they can just try and continue this going. Obviously, their T side is where they started to find their form. This is where the momentum's been. If they come in and actually find all 3 rounds into this first start of overtime, Snods, this could be incredible.
Yeah, crazy. I mean, 16 to 15 already. In terms of the second half, I mean, it's crazy. SK found the pistol. You think, okay, this game's as good as done. They bring it into OT, and as you said, you know, it is MR16K, MR3 16K, so even if Gambit win this round, there is still going to be an abundance of cash for SK to work with, so they can buy all 3 rounds, which is good. Obviously, that's one of the issues, right? On your T side, if you win both the 2 opening rounds, you also force the weak buy into the final round of OT, so expect it to project to get to, you know, a 3-0, or should I say an 18 to 15 scoreline. Now, same default as they showed in regulation. Seized alone towards B, Hobbit alone towards connector, and 3 towards the A side.
Slow and steady from Gambit thus far as they just run their standardized default. Time ticking through, a minute on the clock as things start to get down closer towards crunch time, where things are going to be serious here. For SK, still tons of utility to work with. You've got those smokes, 3 of them to be exact, and Fallen finds the first frag as well. Nets it as Mo peeks out. That's going to be the AWP out of commission, unless the X-God knows how to wield this big green gun.
Yeah, we haven't been seeing Gambit dry peek in that angle. They've flashed it. They've always forced Fallen to go back in towards default, play towards truck, play towards that default position in the box there. And Mo, maybe feeling the confidence after such a strong second half and hoping to carry that forward into overtime, maybe oversteps his mark. 5 versus 4 now. As there's 3 players close in towards toilets. 2 towards B still though, but they go for the extra additional player towards the A side, and right now it's the right play to make.
Oh, Hobbit has been caught off guard there and cut down to size further as well. He just keeps going. Fallen with 2, hungry for the 3rd. He's going to be able to grab it to hat-trick for Fallen. And he's just taking these firefights. He's confident right now as he wants to grab all of the frags. Nets 4. Lovely couple of kills going his way. As SK equalise the scoreline, they're keeping it close, 16-16. It's all to play for on the final round of this first overtime.
Big thing for me here is obviously SK struggling on their CT side on Overpass. If they claim the 17th round and go 2 for 1, suddenly Gambit on their CT side have to win all 3 if they want a chance of making it. You know, 19 to 16 or 19 to 17, apologies, and winning in first OT. For the HE. Oh, actually, not going to go for the peak there. Obviously, the grenades coming in. The smoke as well towards Banana. Going to be fending them off.
Fallen! Call this man Daredevil, Snods. He doesn't need to have vision. He just fights through the blindness. Punishes the dread in seconds. Rips his head clean off. That's a flamboyant way to start it off.
And that's what you need as well. Your IGL and captain leading by example. Gets SK the first entry. So we are seeing a 5 versus 4, and if there's anything we can go by here, Jack, is that SK are so good at transitioning the 1-play advantage into a round victory. We saw it happen in the last round where Fallen found the entry towards a long, and now the same here towards middle. Minute left to work with here for Gambit. No control towards toilets. It's going to be hard for them to try and set a fake if they want to go for an execution towards the B side. There's so much forward information, especially now as Taika finds the frag onto Seized as well. A 5 versus 3. This may be 17 here for SK.
Gambit. They're going to gamble it, roll the dice once or twice and see what they can actually get, if something's going to stick or if it'll all fall short. Fur, he's just lying in wait, hungry for these frags to potentially come his way. Flashbang peek though, they play it smart, they're going to clear it, but they don't actually check the angle. Fur, he's allowed to get away with it, completely dismantles the round for him. Smoke goes down, he's keeping them on their feet as they have to second guess themselves, Snods. But here comes the true play in towards B. They need to just slip their way towards that. It's like as fast as possible. They sprint up, Bolts with the initial headshot. Cold as well, grabs the second, takes down Mo. SK, they get the additional round, they get themselves the advantage in the first half of overtime. Things are looking pretty good for SK now.
Well, let's cast our minds back to what was working for SK on their T side in regulation. It was the 2-2-1 defaults, leaving Taco alone towards B, so he could hold towards B short. He'd usually Molotov out towards B short, deny any chance of Gambit getting aggressive towards B short, gaining information to try and, you know, go for those heavy stacks across the map. And then you had the Fallen and Bolts combo towards Connector. They would Molotov there, push in, gain control towards Connector. And then from that, they'd walk up top of Con, peek towards middle. You had the two players as well, Cold Zero and Fur, working their magic towards A long and towards Party. Basically constricting that A portion of the map and slowly but surely making their way in towards A. And it made it so difficult as well for Gambit to find success, because if you're SK and you have control towards Connector and towards mid, and Taco's denied any B control from Gambit, you know, when those smokes come in towards the A site, you have no idea where SK are lurking. SK also have, you know, 7-8 second window to run down Connector towards the B site, even maybe less than that, 5 seconds essentially if they're close towards the Connector door. So they can rotate back and forth at a moment's notice. Oh, they're going to be up in the ante here, Jack. High octane style of CS, the Molotov towards barrels, the smokes. Here it comes.
Big time B bombardment coming through. Fur with the initial entry as he just tears him a new one. Straight away, Hobbit's down and out, but Seized comes back through as he loves it, gets the initial frags. Dosia as well, able to just annihilate them with a rifle. Seized is just on a roll today. Dosia has the right hook to can complement him as well. Gambit, they only lose one man into the round. The duo of Seized and Dosia was too much to handle. The B site's been locked down. And they're going to get the round. They get themselves 17-17 now as we continue on here in overtime.
17-17. We're all squared up here, Jack, as we go into round number 35. SK. Reflecting on that 14-4 half, as now they witness a all squared up storyline. It's crazy, really, when you think about the resurgence Gambit had in the second half. But now they're on their CT side, the side that wasn't really too effective for them. They found the first. Seized, bailing them out of that scenario. That's the bomb. Going to be going towards T-spawn again, or towards the A site, apologies. This time they're changing it up. It's going to be Fallen coming in towards Playground. No longer going in towards Connector. Taco alone towards B once again. It's going to be leaving Bolts alone, passive towards Connector, so maybe they're expecting aggression here towards the A site, towards Connector from Gambit.
You see that slow style of CS coming through, obviously trying to adapt and wait to see if there's going to be any confidence peaks or aggression coming out from Gambit. Mo goes for the first face, but he doesn't actually find anything with the AWP. He's forced to draw back to the site, but at least he's still alive and kicking. If he goes down, it's not going to be a great start for him. He's so vital with that AWP. Obviously, Hobbit as well, done in the secondary one. Both of these AWPers are going to be fabulous.
Yeah. Lining up the smoke towards A long. Not actually going to be throwing it out just yet. Oh, they did actually. It wasn't caught there, but smoke towards A long. Hobbit, they find the frag onto Taco, so a 5 versus 4 now. Potential now for match point here for Gambit, as SK make their mark towards Banana. Push coming in towards A long from Fur, as well as all down to Dren, close towards toilets.
Fallen boosted up. His head in the clouds as he tries to look around, as he needs to work out where exactly they're going to be hiding from and try and strike against them with the AWP. Adren pushes through the smoke. This could be smart, but it depends. If Cold holds and waits for it to dissipate rather than pushing through, that's when things could go south. Makes his presence known, tries to even tap his head through the smoke, but misses. Fur with the first. Adren bounds in as well, charges against him and uses the confidence. Fallen's finally worked out what's going on. Bolts, meanwhile, is heavy focus towards the site as he's also trying to dabble with getting the bomb down. The bomb goes down, but Bolts has been obliterated. Adren, he's going to be feeling it pumping through his veins right now, as that'll be the defuse. 18 rounds claimed. Gambit are one away from picking up this map and beating out SK on Overpass.
My goodness, Gambit, what on earth is this one? 18-17, one match point now for Gambit to get this one done and send us over to train. But now, you know, MR316K, these teams can buy continuously throughout the overtime, both CT and T-half, so SK gonna have another full chance into this one as we go into round 6 out of 6 of the first OT. Gambit trying to come back with the upset, forces onto train after being down in a 14-4 10-round deficit. They show mental fortitude, composure as well for the new roster, as they weren't shaken, as they stay composed. 4 players towards Connector here from SK. This is going to be interesting here, Jack. 3 players towards the A side here from Gambit, I believe. Actually, no, Caesar's towards Graffiti of these. So it is going to be 2, no more default coming out. Mo's AWP as well, going to be going back towards default, leaving Adren close towards toilets for a second time, as it was so effective in that last round to actually grant the match point. But all 4 players here from SK towards A long, or towards the A site at that. Taco coming towards Connector as well. So SK can still go towards Con, go in towards the B site, sell effect towards the A site if they need to. But they are clearing out all the close angles here towards mid.
Bit of a party in the toilets right now for SK as they get themselves set up. Still utility to work with for Gambit though. They've got those smokes, 2 of them to be exact, to try and whittle down the clock and leave SK starved for information when they do go for a play to make it as awkward as possible. As SK closer and closer, they're ready to try and strike. The smokes go in to block off the line of sight. Mo lands the first. Mo's down Fur, ready for more as well as the re-aggression will come out. Strikes, but he misses. He wasn't able to pull the trigger fast enough. Fallen was quicker, and Fallen displays ferocity as he gets his hand around him and removes him from the round. Obviously planting the bomb now as well, and you can see just a line of CTs getting ready to try and push through, and the mighty man himself in bolts is just waiting. Peeks round, gets the spray off, connects the headshot, but there's the aggression from Hobbit. It's trade for trade, and it's all on Hobbit to try and clutch it out. Causes the jump face, lands the flick on Cold, and it just comes down to Taco. He's got his rifle, but he needs to try and slay with the AK. Get Hobbit to hit the DECK. Hobbit with the CZ goes for the pistol play, takes him down, stays in the round as they'll get the defuse. Gambit, they get the victory. They take the win against SK on SK's map pick as we're going all the way to Train.
14-4 down, and would you believe it? Gambit bring it back. 19-17. I thought SK had done enough into OT there. They got to 17-16 advantage. Gambit had to win all 3 on their CT side to come back into this one. As it goes into Train. Final map here, this best of 3. The loser goes home.
This is ridiculous, Nods. Gambit coming in, trying to play for the upset. Obviously, they lose their own map pick. Inferno, if you missed it, was a little bit abysmal. Gambit just looked really incoherent. Towards the end of the game, they started to get their heads together. Their noggins all started to work as one. They were finding success. They looked actually very effective. Coming into Overpass, it's a different story.
Well, you say that, but then again, you know, for Gambit, they were down again. It's the same storyline we saw in Inferno, right? 13-2 half. Obviously, this time it was 11-4. SK win the second half pistol this time. They come back into it, 14-4 lead, and still they let it slip.
Yeah, but what's crazy as well is obviously for SK, the fact that if they lose this next map, they're in that lower bracket. They are out of the tournament. That's that Grand Slam potential completely gone.
Crazy. The next one being DreamHack Marcel, I believe, as well. 2 months away, something along those lines. So SK, I mean, they have the quarterfinal exit, Starladder versus Liquid. Imagine if they go in the lower bracket here in the group stage of IEM Katowice.
That would not bode well for them, obviously. The fact as well that it was the mass upset and all the issues that go along with that for SK to end up in this lower bracket. You expect them to just sort of slog their way through it, take whoever's going to dare to try and defy them and take them down. But instead, Gambit, they've got other ideas. Looking pretty good towards the end there. Find the win in overtime. Still, one more map to come. Train.
Yeah, I still feel like Train goes in favor of SK. I said Gambit had to get it done in 2. And I'm still going to stick by that. I think because they lost Inferno, SK still win this one 2-1.
All right, well, SK, they still need to carry on, obviously. For them, you've got a map under your belt. It's not all doom and gloom. They still had the initial map win. They were able to best them out. It just has to try and continue on in that form. Bounce back into it. But Gambit, they've netted themselves a first-class ticket to Train as they want to just try and steamroll through, continue on with that hype and be able to close it out. But let's see when we will get into the action after the break. Can Gambit try and close this out and upset SK? Find out after this.
Intel Extreme Masters.